So if you read my blog this week, you heard me say, and if you didn't, what I talked about was be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you teach about, because you'll certainly live it. And I must say that that is true. It's proven true for me a couple of times this week, actually. If you notice, I'm kind of hobbling around a little bit up here today. Had this thing going on with my knee for a while, and yesterday I bent down to do something, and I almost didn't get back up. So something's going on here in the body, demonstrating, manifesting something. And so it's no accident that I'm talking about body-mind connection, body-spirit connection. What do I get to practice in that? So I get to learn that, and so it's I thought it was going to be all about you people. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, does it? So anyway, I was reminded as I was preparing for today of Nikola Tesla. He was a great physicist, electrical engineer, futurist, who said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think about energy, frequency, vibration. So I thought about that, and I think if you want to know the secrets of the body, because the body's part of the universe, right? If you want the secrets of the body, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So when we think about everything is energy, quantum mechanics, everything is about energy. And so the body is energy. And when we begin to think about the body as energy, I think it can give us a different perspective, maybe a different understanding of the body. The body, as it's come to me, is a system of energy. We think of it as solid, we think of it as this my body, but it really is a system of energy. And it's a system of energy comprised of integrated systems of energy. We even talk about it as systems. The circulatory system, the digestive system, the excretive system, is that how it's said? The skeletal system, the muscular system. So it's systems that really are designed to work in harmony and order and flow and energy systems that in their right working are in the flow. And I talked last week about the mind and how the body responds to the mind. I shared about Myrtle Fillmore's story, about how she aligned her thinking, her spirit, her feeling nature with the divine. And as she did that, her body responded and began to demonstrate that she had been experiencing the symptoms of tuberculosis, but when she aligned her mind, her heart, her spirit with the truth of her body responded to that. And so the mind, our thinking, our feeling, energy, which is energy, right? We do agree that the thoughts are energy, right? Everybody, feelings are energy, right? So that's all a part of this field that we think of as mind. And so the mind field, I talked about before, the mind field is the most powerful field of energy in which the body energy field exists and which the body energy field interacts. But it's not the only one, right? Because our energy fields of the body are constantly interacting with our environment, with the foods we choose to ingest. They're energy. And we're constantly interacting. Our mind field is interacting with the mind fields and the fields of energy of other people. Right now, you are having a relationship with everybody in this room. Every energy field in this room you are interacting with and beyond. And so we are impacted physically by the energy fields around us. We're impacted, our energy field is impacted by the electromagnetic field in the room. Studies show that our bodies, our minds, our physiology is impacted by the energy field of our cell phones. Right? The other energy fields that we interact with, our bodies are affected by the energy field of the air that we breathe. And our energy fields are impacted by the environment in which we live. There's a great book out by Florence Williams, I think is her name, called The Nature Fix. Have anybody heard of The Nature Fix? Florence moved from Colorado to Washington, D.C. Why? Yeah, why? Why would anybody do that, right? But she did. And she quickly realized how the energy shifted for her. Being in an environment where there was very little contact with nature, where she was surrounded by noise all the time, and people and traffic, and how she began to feel the effects of that in her body, and in her mental state of mind, and her feeling nature. So she recognized that, and she realized that it was something about nature. And so she did this study about how being in nature, connecting with nature, shifts our energy. It changes our energy field. It improves our blood pressure. It improves our state of mind. That we go out into nature, and there are countries that actually have these nature set up, this nature preserve kind of set up, so people can walk in there, can be in there, and to be healed by nature. So we have it great, don't we, here in Colorado? Jay and I spent last Monday at Rocky Mountain National Park, and just being in that environment was healing. It really is healing. We interact with the energy fields of the plants. Have you noticed sometimes when you walk into a room and there are plants in the room, it just feels better? The energy is better. It's nicer. It's different. Have you noticed how you interact with the energy fields of the animals? How many of you have pets? Wow, a lot of people have. This is the biggest dog town I've ever been in. And there's a good reason for that. It's because our pets are nurturing, they're healing, we connect with their energy. What is it about that? I think there's purity in that. There's the nature has this pure energy of the divine. It's just, I was out we did a hike, a short hike on Monday, and we were sitting on this rock where there was away from other people and away from the traffic, and I was just in awe of the mountains and the trees and just the rocks, and just absorbing all of that energy, feeling at one with the energy of nature, and how nurturing that is. So I encourage you, spend more time in nature. Then we also interact with everything that we put into our bodies. Everything that goes into our bodies is energy. We even measure the energy of the food by calories, right? The usable energy. But there's also more subtle energy. Everybody agree with me? There's subtle energy in the foods that we choose to eat. One reason the Fillmores advocated a vegetarian diet. Now, don't everybody run out of the room. I also know it's a big meat-eating community. But one of the reasons they advocated that, one, they believed it was biblical, and they believed it was healthier because of the energy in the live food, energy in eating plants and nuts and those kinds of things. There's energy in the food. Now, I'm not saying you should be a vegetarian Although, I would just say, if you choose to eat, okay, I'm preaching now. Let me just say this. That if whatever we choose to ingest into our bodies, that we take time and make an effort to add our own blessing to whatever it is. I think this idea of blessing our meals has kind of gotten lost for some of us. It used to be something we did every meal. You may still do that, and if you do, I think it's great. Congratulations. If you don't have to say it out loud. But I truly believe that we have the power through our thinking and feeling natures to impact the energy of the food that we're taking in. Anybody agree with me on that? Because we add our energy of blessing to it, our thoughts, our feelings, to the food, to all of those who had a hand in growing it and harvesting it and selling it and bringing it to us. That when we bless it, when we add our energy to it, I believe it is more nourishing to our bodies. I would say the same thing. You know what? I've started blessing the water I drink. I never did that before. But there was a study, what was his name, Dr. Emoto, who did this study of water, where he taped words onto these containers of water and watched how the crystals of water formed. And if you go and look at that study, I think it was in What the Bleep, was for the first time I saw about it, the movie What the Bleep, that the crystals of water formed differently according to the energy of the word that was taped on the bottle. Now imagine, again, what percentage of our bodies are water, right? 75% or something like that? So think of how we bless our bodies. We bless the water. We bless the food. And if you are a meat eater, bless the life of the animal that gave its life so that you could be nourished. Really add your energy of blessing. I'm just encouraging. I'm not telling. I'm just encouraging. Because I do think it makes a difference. I do think it makes a difference. And we're also interacting with other people. The energy of other people in our lives. Probably, again, maybe another very influential energy force. I have a friend, I was talking to her yesterday, who has been in this, not physically, but somewhat emotionally and spiritually abusive relationship. And we talked about that, and she's aware that it's affecting her physical health. And that when we interact with people who are, I don't necessarily want to use the negative, but who have an outlook on life that tends to be more from a victim's perspective, or about how awful life is, always finding something wrong with everything, always talking about what's wrong with everything, they are a very heavy energy field. Have you noticed? And we can feel that, we can sense that, right? You can even walk into a room where somebody has been and you can sense their energy field. And so it's important for us to just be conscious of that. That it's not about making somebody else bad or wrong, but it's about noticing, being aware, and making conscious choices. Making conscious choices about what we eat, what we drink, what environment we're in as much as possible, and also the people that are in our environment, because they do affect us. They affect our emotional state, they affect our mental state, and they affect our physical state. It's all related. So it's important for us to make choices for ourselves. As Myrtle said in the letter, it's not my business to try to control what somebody else does, even though I would love to. But it is my business what I choose to do. It's my business, and I am the one that has the power. You are the one that has the power to choose what you're thinking. And by choosing what you're thinking, choosing your emotional state at its basis, foundation. Choose what you're eating. Choose the people that are in your environment. Choose whether you go out into nature, whether you walk barefoot in the grass, breathe the air, look at the sunshine. Now, what I also know about all of that, and what I want to speak to just briefly, is that I'm aware, and maybe this is my lesson to share today primarily. I am keenly aware that when something happens in your body, when you do have the demonstration of an illness or something going on with your body, that it gets a lot of your attention, doesn't it? It draws your attention. And how it draws our attention is important. One, as I said last week, it's important not to criticize your body, not to talk about, oh, well, this was just what happens when you get old. I hear that so much. I'm not claiming that. I'm not claiming that. It's important how we talk to our bodies. It's important to bless our bodies. It's important to give positive energy to our bodies. It's important to see the energy of the life force energy flowing through our bodies. To love that part of our bodies that is experiencing some imbalance or some pain or some discord or something, whatever's going on in there. Because as I've said before, at the risk of continuing to repeat myself, love is the only healing power. And love is not about criticism. It's not about blaming. It's not about saying, well, why did I do that? What am I doing to myself? How did I possibly make this happen? That's not helpful. It's helpful to love it, to open up to the flow of energy, to be inspired to what to do to help facilitate some return of that energy, and to get help when we need help. Because what I know is that when I'm focused on my body, that sometimes I need help. I need someone else who is, what the Course in Miracles says, whoever is the sanest, let them lead the way. And right now I'm not particularly sane because I'm thinking about this knee thing. And so it's important to go to someone who is able to help us to realign, to remember who we are, to return to that flow. And there are many ways to do that. We do it mentally through through therapy, psychology, those kinds of things, to talk through some of these things, to get a different perspective. We do it through movement of the body in many ways, to get connected to the body. You know, as I talked about earlier, the things that we ingest in our body have energy. Vitamins and minerals, things that come from the plants. I know there's protein that comes from animals too. I get that. But there's protein that comes from vegetables too, just so you know. And nuts. So yeah, and like the products that people develop and put their heart and their soul and their love into and formulate, and because they want it to assist. And so it's important to discern that, to be aware of what those things are and to seek those things out to help us restore. I went to my chiropractor, Dr. Pete. I'm not even sure he's here today, but I had a back thing going on. He helped to realign the things in my body to help the flow be restored. He worked on my knee. I haven't accepted the healing of my knee yet, I guess. I guess I still have something I need to get out of that. But, that's what I'm saying is that, and that's why I invited these people here today. Because they have experience, they are trained, they have aligned themselves in different ways to be the vessels through which this divine energy flows in many different modalities, in many different ways. It's available to all of us. That's why we have prayer chaplains to help us realign our thinking, to help us get back into the flow. So we assist each other. We can ignite each other. When our candle goes a little dim, we can rely on somebody else to help to fan the flame. And that's really what it is. It's really about the exchange of energy. It's all energy. It's about the exchange of energy. And sometimes we have the power to do it ourselves. I'm not discounting that. We have the power to do it ourselves. Sometimes we need to be reminded of that. And sometimes we go to somebody outside of ourselves. Even Jesus, at times when he was practicing the healing, he knew what the person needed. He knew they needed sometimes something external. When he picked up the dirt and spit in it and made this concoction and put it on the guy's eyes and he healed him, that sometimes that's what we need. There are healing energies present, and there are people who open themselves up to that healing energy. Again, I want to reiterate, no one is a healer. No one is a healer. There is only one healing energy. There are those who open to allow that energy to flow through them in many different ways, and so they act as a vessel for the healing power. But no one person is a healer. That is my opinion. You may share that or you may not. But what I want to say about that is that you can be a channel, you can be a vessel, you can be one through that which opens up to allow that energy to flow through you. But there's only one healer, and that is the divine life that flows through all of us. And so as we align to that, as we know that, as we interact with that, as we connect with that life energy in other people, as we connect with that life energy in the food we eat, as we connect with that life energy through nature and through animals, through the plants in our spaces, we reconnect and it reinvigorates us and revitalizes us. And so as Myrtle said, yes, prayer is important. Yes, it helps us align with the truth. The mental energy is important, keeping our mind focused on the truth of our knowing, and then what do we do with it? What actions do we take to help facilitate our own alignment and our own energy? It is important what we do. What we choose, the choices we make are important. And so I encourage us to just be conscious. Be conscious of the choices that we are making. Are they life-enriching? Are they life-denying? Are we willing to make different choices? You'd be surprised how many people experience physical imbalance or the manifestation of something in their physical body, and they won't even change their diet. We have choices, and our choices help us to participate in our own well-being. So that is really what my message is today, for me and for us.